We've all had our moments where our big dreams begin to feel like too much because it just doesn't seem like there are enough hours in the day to actually do the million and one things that I want to do. And I know that they're amazing things to do. I so remember being in that place. And I was stuck there for quite some time until I actually pulled back to really dig deeper and see, how can I make this work? Or am I not supposed to be doing all this stuff at all? We're going to dive in and I'm going to show you exactly what came out of that so you can make time for everything that you want. Time is the one thing that keeps on running no matter what. Can't catch it, can't stop it. It will keep running. And that means that we have to make the changes then to actually put ourselves in the midst of what time is doing. If time is running forward, then we got to put ourselves there and be running forward too into what we really want. And when we think about this concept of making time for everything that we want, because I have financial goals, I have fitness goals, I have business goals, I have family goals, all the goals, right? We want to be able to do it all, but it can often feel like there's just not enough minutes in the hour to get it done. And the reality is we need to take a moment and say, let me make sure everything I think I want is what I really want. That has to happen before we can even dive into these next steps in order for these next steps to work in your favor. Once you have real access into what you really want, it can shift everything. And listen, that piece is vital because it is almost natural for us to see what everybody else is doing and what's considered the standard in our industry and our career path and say, that's what I need to go after. So if the standard is make six figures and build a big house and move to this part of town, then you can very naturally begin to aspire for those things without really thinking about, but is that what I really want? You can very naturally have thought, I need to graduate high school and go to college, get my degree, and get a really good job and work there for 30 years until I retire. Because that was the standard. That's what success was defined as. But when you really take a step back and really determine what you really want, like just personally, me, what do I want to have in my life? What do I want to live like? It can be a completely different picture. And I say that to say that some of the things that may be on your plate that you think you need to make time for probably don't even need to be there. And so we want to make sure that you're clear about that first before we dive into this, because that element can be a deal breaker. You will find yourself back in the same place if you are chasing after everyone else's standards of success instead of what you truly want. Now, as you get clear about that, then we can shift into understanding, okay, I know what I want. I know what I really want in my life. And to really direct that and really know what it's supposed to look like to keep it in alignment with who you are, you need to make sure you filter it through your guiding guardrails. Those guiding guardrails are what your core values. That's what I call your core values, guiding guardrails. Because when you put those guardrails up beside what it is that you really desire, they're going to keep you in between those rails so that you stay on the path to live in alignment with who you really want to be. And listen, time is where we live out who we are, where we live out who we want to be. And so once you get clear about who you want that person to be, you put that in those guardrails for your time to then stay within those guardrails for how you use it. Now, as we do that, there are a couple of steps that you got to take to make sure that now I know exactly what I want. I got it in my guardrails, but actually, how do I really make it all fit? I'm going to show you. The next part of this is something that seems, obvious, but it's not something that's actually executed very well by most people. And it's something that I had to realize we have to be really intentional about this part. So when you've done that and you saw the gaps, you know what you need to do to close the gaps and what it's going to cost you, there needs to be a new level of commitment. Meaning you need to make a formal commitment to yourself that you are going to make it your best and utmost intention to be so committed to yourself that you're going to delegate your time to work for you to do what it is that you want it to do. You have to commit to yourself so that you live in alignment with what you say that you really want. Because when you look at some of those things that you have to let go of or cut away from or stop spending so much time with these people or that group, it may make you feel a little uncomfortable. But nothing ever came right there in your comfort zone to get you to the altitude that you really are meant to live at. So that's just a part of the game. But you have to be freshly, fully committed to actually living by this new ideal week and standard that's going to get you to live out what you really want. Now, once you've done that, now we get to the real meat and potatoes, because this is going to take you into the day-to-day living of your life in this next phase. And that is to control your clock, literally. Like, control the hours of your days and where your time is going. You know now exactly what you want your ideal week to look like. Granted, life can happen, but if you have a plan, when life happens, it won't throw everything off course. You will be able to be flexible to shift and move and know exactly where you can move it and how you can move it. Being able to control your clock is literally telling your time what it will do for you. Means actually scheduling things into your day and into your week. Putting yourself on a schedule so that you can actually accomplish what it is that you want to do. We have 168 hours in a week. 168. And when you go back and look at your time analysis, you probably are using maybe about 120. Maybe. And for some of you, maybe a little 130. But you already have hours that are wide open that are not being maximized. So when you start to really control your clock, you begin to see a day-to-day difference. So that means set a schedule where every week you sit down and write out your schedule. And for whatever that looks like for you, start where you are. But when you actually write out your schedule, you can take those things that you really want and plug them into those time slots. And you will begin to see that you can accomplish not only everything that you want right now, but you actually have a few hours to do some more. When you really sit down and do the work, the hours are there. You have it. Now you see it. Make sure that you're maximizing every moment of it. And listen to me. These concepts, these strategies, these steps sound very elementary, very practical. Yeah, that makes sense. Like, that's really simple. The real test comes when it's actually time to implement. When it's actually time to show up for yourself every week to actually delegate your time. When it's time to really remain committed to what it is you really want when everyone else wants to invite you into what they really want. That is where you will see rubber meet the road, so to speak. And you have to be in position and anchored to make those decisions to say, no, I'm committed to me. There's already something on my calendar. I'm actually already booked at that time. You can begin to use that language and operate like that when you really take control of your clock, because you're making time for everything that you really want. I can't wait to see what all you get done as you really begin to show up and delegate your time week by week. Let me know in the comments any questions. I'm hanging out down there to engage with you and hear what you have to say. I'll be there for the next hour after this video goes live. I can't wait to talk to you.